Imagine your heart stops, everything goes quiet, and the very first thing that you see is someone who knows you better than you know yourself. That's what real NDE survivors report when they meet their spirit guides. And what they learn could change how you see your life forever. Today, I'm going to walk you through some of the most powerful NDE accounts where people come face to face with their spirit guides. And I'll break down exactly what they saw, what they learned, and why these messages matter for your life long before you ever cross over. And by the end of our time together, you'll have a clear understanding of how spirit is guiding you right now, even if you've never had an NDE. So here's what we're going to explore today, step by step. First off, we're going to look at the stunning moments that NDE survivors describe when their spirit guide first appears, and the one thing that nearly all of them report seeing. Secondly, we'll look at the messages that these guides give, the life lessons, the purpose reminders, and the truths that instantly change how people see themselves. And third, we're going to look at how you can recognize your own spirit guide's presence in your daily life without needing to get an NDE to actually wake you up to it. Hey there, and welcome to Spirits Beside Us. I'm Chris Lippincott, international medium, best-selling author, and spiritual life coach. And for 20 years, I've been connecting with spirit. I help spiritually curious people like you raise your vibration, trust your inner guidance, so that you can live with clarity, peace, and purpose. And if you're looking for a simple way to stay connected in your everyday life, I've created a free space for that. It's called GuideLink Haven, a calm, supportive community where you can just notice your signs, trust your intuition, and feel guided without doing it alone. And the link is in the description below. So let's dive in today. Let's start first with that very first moment that NDE experiencers actually have, the moment where everything just goes quiet, goes still, and suddenly that guide steps forward. You see, when people describe the beginning of an NDE, it rarely starts the way you'd actually imagine. There's no panic, no confusion. In fact, the very first moment is often the most peaceful. You see, again and again, survivors say that the instant their heart stops, or maybe the anesthesia pulls them under, or perhaps the trauma hits, the noise of the physical world just simply falls away. It's as if someone gently turns the volume knob all the way down on reality, and then something extraordinary happens, a sudden awareness. They're still themselves, their thoughts, their identity, but no longer inside the body. Many describe floating, rising, drifting endlessly and effortlessly upward. It's in that moment when they're no longer tied to gravity or pain that they suddenly sense something, a presence. You see, at the University of Virginia's Division of Perceptual Studies, where thousands of NDE cases have been examined, people under full cardiac arrest or even deep anesthesia describe this exact moment, sort of a somebody nearby or someone who feels familiar, even if they can't yet see them. Some describe it as a being of light. Others say it feels like a person made of love. Others say they just simply, quote unquote, knew that somebody was there. Kind of the way that you sense someone standing behind you with your eyes closed. And when I interviewed June Edward, for example, she described this moment perfectly. See, the doctors had injected this dye into her, and then suddenly her heart stopped. And instantly she found herself above the operating room. No pain, no fear, just quiet. And behind her, not in front, she sensed a loving, intelligent presence. She hadn't seen a tunnel yet. She hadn't seen her life review, but she felt that somebody was already with her, almost waiting for her. And you hear this in so many NDEs. People describe floating above an operating table while resuscitation is underway, yet their attention keeps being pulled toward a light in the distance or a presence just to their side. Pam Reynolds, whose case is one of the most medically documented in all of NDE research, for example, said that she sensed a being just beyond her, guiding her awareness, even as surgeons were working on her brain. See, different people, different ages, different countries, different religions and beliefs, but that one moment, leaving the body and sensing that somebody is with you, is astonishingly consistent. And before they understand what's happening, before anybody speaks a word, nearly all of them say they saw something, not darkness, not emptiness, but a light, a living light, a conscious light, a light that feels like recognition. Some experiencers actually say that the light began to take shape, a figure or a silhouette or a presence that felt like a long lost friend, somebody they knew. Others say it wasn't a figure at all, but a warm, overwhelming intelligence, as if love itself had turned toward them. And here's what's fascinating. You see, in mediumship, spirit rarely uses anything with words. Spirit speaks in knowing, in familiarity, in feeling, in presence. And NDE survivors describe the same thing. The being doesn't need to say, hey, by the way, I'm your guide. You just know. And in that very first moment, hovering above the body, wrapped in this presence, surrounded by light, people say they felt more seen, more understood, and more loved than at any moment in their entire life. It's kind of like the doorway, the threshold, the instant where the physical world fades and the spiritual world steps forward. But what happens next? When this presence finally communicates, what do spirit guides actually show people? And why does every lesson feel like it was meant for them? And more importantly, what could those same lessons actually be trying to show you? So before we move on, let me ask you something. If your own life review began this very second, right now, which moment do you think spirit would show you first? And why that moment? And hold on to that thought, because what NDE survivors are shown next is astonishing. And it actually might reveal something about your journey too. So let's look at the second point. Let's look at what NDEs were shown. When that presence steps forward, most survivors say something remarkable happens. Communication begins, but not with words. It's more like knowing, a truth arriving, fully formed inside you, the way a memory rises to the surface before you can actually consciously recall it. And what's interesting is that across cultures, ages, backgrounds, NDE survivors describe the same three-part sequence: a life review, an understanding of purpose, and a reminder of love. Not punishment, not judgment, not a scorecard, just understanding. For example, when June described her NDE, she said the presence behind her began showing her scenes from her life. And she described it as if she was standing inside a giant IMAX theater that played the moments that mattered the most in her prior life. Not the achievements, not the titles, just the moments of love, the small kindnesses, the times that she lifted someone without even realizing it. And that's what mattered. And Raymond Moody, who analyzed over 150 NDEs in his famous book, Life After Life, found the same thing. People are shown not what they did, but what they meant to others. Children say the same thing. Atheists say the same. People with no spiritual beliefs at all say the same thing. It's not about perfection. It's about connection to each other. And the guide, whether it appears as light, presence, or something familiar, seems to highlight one truth over and over. This is who you really are. This is what truly matters. See, over and over, survivors say they felt a kind of clarity that they'd never really known, a sense that their life had a purpose woven through it all along. Then comes the moment almost no one expects, the choice. See, many NDE survivors describe their guide giving them the option to stay or return, not forcing, not demanding, inviting a choice. And you see, in June's case, the presence let her choose. She said at first she didn't want to go back, not even for her husband or her family. Only when she remembered her two young children did everything suddenly shift. She understood instantly that they were the reason she had to come here in the first place. See, purpose snaps into focus. And the astonishing thing is this same pattern appears in cross-cultural research. Whether the experiencer is in India, the US, Japan, or the Middle East, the message is almost identical. You are loved. Your life has meaning. You're not finished yet. Now imagine hearing that, not as a thought, not as a belief, but as a truth from a human voice, not even a human voice, but more presence that just evolves knowing. And as a medium, I've seen this too. Loved ones in spirit rarely talk about big accomplishments. They talk about love, regret, forgiveness, the small moments that shaped someone's heart. And NDE survivors describe the same thing. The guide doesn't point to the big trophies, it points to the way you made someone feel. It's as if spirit is saying, you measured your life by the wrong metrics. Here's what actually mattered. Here's what you came here to learn. And when people return back from an NDE, they come back so changed, often permanently. Their intuition is stronger. Their fear of death is gone. Their priorities shift. They feel guided. Because once you've seen the truth through spirit's eyes, you just can't unsee it. So let me ask you, if spirit were to show you your purpose in the same clear, loving way, what part of your life do you think would suddenly make sense? Because what comes next in these experiences might be the clearest clue. Okay, so let's look at the return. How people change after meeting their guide. What happens? See, one of the things that fascinates researchers most about NDEs isn't just what happens during them. It's actually what happens afterwards. Because almost everyone who meets a guide or a being of light or a presence that knows them comes back different, changed somehow. You see, in studies from the University of Virginia and other major NDE research centers, people describe the same after effects across thousands of reports. Their intuition sharpens, their sensitivity heightens, their priorities change, their inner compass becomes unmistakably clear. It's as if meeting that presence didn't just show them the truth, it awakened something inside them. Pam Reynolds, for example, she returned with an inner clarity that never left her. Children who have NDEs often become deeply compassionate, perceptive, emotionally aware, far greater than most children. And when June came back, she told me that her spiritual abilities didn't just return, they radically accelerated. See, she began trusting her knowing. She could feel the shift in energy in a room like that. She could sense things about people the way that you sense a temperature change. And here's the part that might surprise you. You don't have to go through an NDE to feel these same things. You don't need your heart to stop for your awareness to wake up. Because what NDE survivors gain in one extraordinary moment, the rest of us often experience gradually through intuition, synchronicities, those sudden nudges, that feeling of, I just know, even when it makes no logical sense. But that's the problem, because it's logic that kind of kicks it out. You see, those are the whispers of guidance, the same kind of guidance people encounter in NDEs, just delivered in a smaller, everyday way. Now, think about those times that you felt pulled toward a decision that you just couldn't logically explain. Or maybe when something told you to call someone at the exact moment that they really needed you. Or perhaps when you felt heaviness around something that looked fine on paper, but turned out it wasn't. You see, these are not random moments. They are the same communication style that people describe during NDEs. That same knowing, the same clarity, the same gentle steering. You see, what NDEs reveal is that this guidance doesn't begin at death. It's been here all along. We just don't always realize that we're feeling or what's speaking to us. Because when you strip away the noise of the physical world, the pain, the distraction, the constant mental chatter of your mind going yappity yap, what's left is the part of you that can actually hear. And that's why so many survivors say they didn't learn anything new during their NDE. It was more of a remembering of what they've been told all along. So let me ask you something, and take a moment with this. When was the last time you felt guided, even in a small way, and just brushed it off as coincidence? And hold that thought, because next what we're going to look at what NDEs can teach you about recognizing your spirit guide's presence right now. See, we can do this before any crisis, before any trauma, and while you're fully alive. Because you see, if there is one thing that NDEs teach us, it's that spirit is always closer than we think. Not waiting for the end of life, but guiding us in the middle of it. You don't need to leave your body. You don't need to cross any threshold to feel the presence that NDE survivors describe. You just need to recognize the way spirit already speaks to you. Remember how nearly every experiencer said that the guide didn't speak with words, but more with knowing? See, daily intuition works the same way. Spirit communicates through impressions, feelings, nudges, clarity that arrives out of the blue. A quiet awareness that something is right for you or not. You've definitely felt it before. That moment when suddenly you know you need to reach out to somebody, or a decision that keeps feeling wrong even when it looks really good on paper, or perhaps the opposite. Maybe a path that pulls you forward even when you're scared that it's not going to work out. These aren't accidents. These are subtle forms of guidance. See, NDE survivors experience the guide's presence at full volume because the noise of the physical world falls away. But in daily life, the guidance is much quieter, not weaker, just gentler. Think of it like a whisper instead of a spotlight. And here's the part that surprises so many people. Your guide is not waiting for a crisis to speak to you. They're speaking to you right now. Through synchronicities, through dreams, through sudden insight, through maybe the people who enter your life at the right moment, through the doors that open, and the ones, of course, that don't. But NDEs show us that the same truth again and again always happens. The spirit doesn't guide us from above. Spirit guides us from within and around us. Not as a voice booming from the sky, but as the deepest part of your own knowing, your own soul. So let me ask you this, and this time, trust the very first answer that rises up. Where in your life do you feel a gentle pull? Maybe something inviting you forward, even if you've been ignoring it. See, that's not your imagination. That might actually be your guide. If NDEs reveal anything, it's that we are loved more deeply than we ever realize, guided more constantly than we recognize, and connected more profoundly than we've ever been told. And you don't have to leave this world to feel that. You just have to listen. Because the presence that greets people in those extraordinary moments is the same presence that walks with you quietly, patiently, every single day of your life. Now, if this episode made you feel closer to spirit and you want a simple way to stay connected in your everyday life, I created a free space just for that. It's called Guide Link Haven. And it's a calm, supportive community where you can notice signs, trust your intuition, and feel guided without doing it alone. And if you'd like to deepen that connection, just click the link in the description below and join us. It's free, it's gentle, and it'll help you stay open to spirit in a really natural way. And now that you know how guides appear, the next question arises, well, how do you actually hear them clearly? And to learn that, there's a 3-part method that I teach. So you can actually go to the next episode titled, How to Clearly Hear Your Spirit Guides, the 3-part method. So click the link in the description for that one. It's the perfect next step. So keep raising your vibration and spiritual awareness. Love and light. This is Chris.